What's going on, guys? We are back with the top 10 players of 2017, and we're starting off with number 10, Mognus. This is Mognus gameplay that you will be watching throughout this video, but Mognus, to me, is the one and only player that I have on this list from the Method squad for all of 2017. Now, the way I do my top 10 players, I'll go over it a little bit here because number 10 is a little bit less, but it's basically just their accomplishments, but also their skill. Like, there's definitely going to be skill involved, but certain players, like, say, Gale Force players, they've accomplished a lot, so they're probably going to be moving up further on the list than some other players. But that also means they were extremely good throughout the year. So I got Mognus at number 10. I feel like Method had a really strange year, and, like, it topped off. Like, their highlight was their Grand Finals appearance at the World Championship Season number 4. And World Championships, they have a lot more weight than I feel like any other tournament in my mind. So, World Championship Grand Finalist is a very big accomplishment. But besides that, Method kind of struggled throughout the entire year. Like, at the start, before RLCS Season number 3, they were looking really good. Back when they were Resonant, Team Secrecy, all these other names, they were looking strong, and then as soon as it came to league play, they started to suffer. They barely made it into playoffs, and they took Flipside all the way to 7 games. But they never really showed what they could do until later on. They obviously missed all of the summer events. They actually got bounced out of top 8 for DreamHack Summer, which was one of the weakest competitions for international land's sake. They weren't even in top 8 there, but then they started to come alive. Mognus, during Season 3, I felt like really struggled, didn't really play up to his potential. It was mostly Metsonoris doing all the work, but then Season 4 came into play, and that's where they started to play a lot better. They were also in Gfinity Elite Series, which they didn't have the greatest results here or there. They were also being subbed out all the time because they had other commitments, so they couldn't really get like a flow going there, but I think that really helped them for LAN experience, and we saw it going into the Season 4 World Championship. But Mognus had a stellar year for Season number 4, at least. He had the most saves for his team, 2 saves per game. He also had the most goals plus assists for his team, so he was doing everything around the field for this squad. Then also when they went to the World Championship, he led Method in goals and saves once again. So Mognus was really showing that on both sides of the field he can do it. He's their best defender, and I also think he's their best shooter on Method. And that's why I have him on the list, probably more so than Metsonoris. If Metsonoris was the close second to Mognus, I felt like it could have been him as well. But Mognus, I feel like, has quality touches after quality touches. Like, when he has the ball, you really don't have to worry about too much. He's going to make a quality hit. And I think he does that the best on his team. And sometimes, like, it's not all about the stats. It's just about how they're playing around the field. And I think Mognus made Method a very defensive squad, a very strong defensive squad, even under a lot of pressure, and could withstand that pressure. A lot of that has to go to Mognus. But Method going in Season number 4, obviously making it all the way to the Grand Finals. Mognus was one of the key factors for that run. And then also, we're going to be talking about going into 2018. Like, this Method squad can do some things, but I still worry about their LAN environment skills. They got some practice in Gfinity Elite, where they got to play against like lesser teams, and they didn't have the greatest results throughout the year, but they got that live experience. It showed off in the World Championship, but it hasn't showed up anywhere else. E-League, they got last place in their group. It was a really tough group, and they barely got last place. It was by a game. But I want to see them be more consistent, and I think that comes from partially Mognus, but I think it's also partially Mets and a lot. I think at some point, these guys might have to change up their style. Early on in the league play season of Season number 4, we saw them go very defensive and just have a lot go forward. That completely changed at the World Championship. They were 7th in Europe for league play in shots, but at the World Championship, they were piling on shots time and time again. They were doing way more of a Gale Force esports approach of just pile on the shots. But then they kind of got away from their passing. They're known for one of the best passing teams. So I want to see Mognus, I want to see Mets, plus a lot, work on that passing game as well, and get back into the, like, try and mix both. Like, get a lot of shots, but also involve a lot of passes. They were a pass-first team for most of this year, and then they went to a shot-heavy team, and it did pay off the World Championship, but I think they got to find a little middle balance there. But going back to Mognus, I feel like it's really hard to separate him and Metsenoris. I think they are very similar players. But Mognus just squeaks on this list, and Metsenoris is definitely one of those guys just off the list. And we'll be talking about a couple more of those players as we go on through the list here. But Mognus, I think just the quality of play from him is slightly better than Metsenoris. He had a really good season. Like, a lot of people for MVP voting had him in his top 3. I personally didn't, but Method, unbelievable league play, 6-1, got first place there, got second place in the European region, which is always great, and then the World Championship. That was the highlight of their season, was season number 4. They kind of struggled pretty much everywhere else, but that's why Mognus can't move up too much higher on this list. They need more accomplishments, I feel like, in 2018 to see where they can advance to. But going forward here, guys, we will be doing one player, a video, going through the top 10. This is based on 3v3 only. I don't care about 2v2. I won't be talking about the NBC Universal Open. It doesn't really matter to me because I feel like we're talking about the best player in 3v3 because that's what almost every single main event is for. So I won't be talking about 1v1s. I won't be talking about 2v2s. I'll be talking mostly about 3v3s. And just keep that in mind. And we'll be talking a lot about skill, a lot about accomplishments as we go on through the list. What a shot there for Mognus to finish it off. But he is my number 10 player in 2017. And look out for number 9, probably in 2 short days. I'll probably put these out every 2 days. I might change it up. I might do it every day to finish off the year. But this might bleed into January. But congratulations to Mognus. And look out for Method in 2018. This is a solid team. The only team to stay together this entire year from the European region. So look out for them making moves 2018. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.